right. How's it going, everyone? Blake with Rogue Pet Science here. I just want to take some time and kind of talk about a topic that I'm seeing brought up a lot online, and that's the future of retail. Obviously, we work with a lot of independent local retail stores, so this is an important issue to us. And I wanted to kind of share my thoughts because right now it's a lot of doom and gloom out there. I hope that the next 18 months everyone gets through it okay, and we come out stronger from the changes and stuff that we're implementing now as a result of what's going on. So I think for most retailers that make it through, it's going to be a very bright future. Things we're doing now are going to likely stick around. There's things that we're doing that we needed to be doing, and the whole COVID situation put a lot of pressure to move quicker and get things in place. But I also want to caution on some of these things. So a lot of our partners have been able to roll out things like online ordering, curbside pickup, delivery. And I think these are all things that were coming anyway. Some have implemented online communication with their customers, more Facebook Lives, lots of really cool stuff. And I think the pressure was already coming to move this way from a lot of the online third-party marketplace offerings. I also think it was coming from a lot of the big box stores. And maybe this was the catalyst that really pushed them to make these decisions, get it done. And my caution comes in that these are great things to offer, and I think you need them to have the opportunity to catch that customer, but I don't think it's where you can actually compete. I don't think that an independent pet store can ever offer the same level of service, the vastness of the marketplace. I don't think that they can compete on delivery with Amazon or Chewy. So do you have those things? Absolutely. But what you should be doing is doubling down where you can actually compete. So I'll get into what I think that is and how you can do that, what it might take. Put a little meme and little gifs throughout this presentation just to try to help make it interesting. Obviously, this is kind of symbolizing you go into the fight that the big box and the online retailers have set up. And I'm just cautioning, maybe don't pick up that gun if it's going to be a detriment to your experience for your customer. Don't do it if you feel like you have to compete at the same level. So just be cautious getting into this fight of delivery and offering more services to your customer. The reason why I'm cautioning that is you have a business and you have to make money. And so competing with big retailers online that you don't know their business model and they may not even be viable, they might be willing to lose money on every transaction. I would say it's a dangerous game to play. And here I'm like, it's like playing chicken with a train, and you may not realize that they're in a train. So I would really recommend, that you start thinking about your business and what the things are that you can actually compete and win on, and double down on those. Offering delivery is fine. I think having services like that it's a great opportunity to capture and keep more customers because more and more people are turning to those things. But just be cognizant that trying to compete and offer same day delivery or offer 2-hour delivery or doing things like this could actually take you out of your business, and it could actually reduce the area where you're most competitive, which is customer experience. So just something to really, ponder and think about. So don't try to get into their game of offering these things when most likely they're losing money doing them and they don't have any plan of getting to viability in those areas, or they may not even need to. They're making money somewhere else. So again, as a small business, I always have thought of ourselves as providing something that's so important and so good for our customers. And I believe local retail can feel the same way, that we have an obligation to stay in business. We have an obligation to be profitable to our customers so that we are still in business for our customer. And I think more and more small businesses need to recognize the value that they bring to their customers, to their employees, to their community. And they need to make sure they're meeting their obligations to be profitable first. Instead of just trying to expand all these things, these offerings, to the best of their ability. And it's more of I'm treading water, or I'm discounting or giving away stuff to try to compete. And if those things end up hurting you or lowering your profit margin to where you go out of business, then you're not meeting your obligations. So just keep that in mind. You can't discount, give away, or provide free services to customers that have real cost to your business. And be a value to your customer if it's going to ultimately put you out of business. So word of caution there. So where do I think you can win? Well, it's what makes a good experience whenever I go to a local retail store. It's the reason why Rogue wants to work with local independents. It's your staff. And so the question I'm going to ask is, how much have you invested in your staff? Uh, I know as a small business owner how I feel, and I'm sure you feel the same way. All the time, we wish we had employees that had ownership, that acted like owners. We all the time wish that we could clone ourselves so that we could get more done because we have so much going on. And so, what does that look like? How could you get that type of mentality out of your employees? What are you doing to cultivate that so that they actually start acting like owners? I'm not saying everyone should be equal in your business. You know, obviously you have your own money, you have your own every time, effort, everything tied up in your business. But recognizing that if you want them to act like owners, you're going to have to incentivize that behavior, I think is something that's worth considering. And understanding that the more people acting like you, the faster and the more your business is going to grow. I think we all know that. So um, I also want to point out the real cost of turnover, because I think this is an area that even the biggest corporations, when I've worked for some of the biggest corporations, they don't fully understand the real cost to their business of high turnover. So, you know, you have the fixed cost of turnover that you can easily recognize, which you might say, well, it's, you know, I have to pay to train that person. I have to run an ad. I have to put my time in, and we're already not excited about turnover, right? Just with those things. But the reality is, if you had that great employee that was working for you, the one that all your customers loved, that promoted your business, that helped promote your extra services, that upsold your customers on other products, and they leave your business, the real cost is how long does it take to recreate that so that when your customer comes in, they have that same experience? Can it even be done? And I think when you start recognizing the value that these key people are bringing to your business, you can understand the expense of losing them can be much greater than just trying to hire somebody. Um, you may never get someone that is as good as the person that left. So, you know, thinking about that, recognizing those people, I think is an important part of your understanding the actual cost of turnover. The other thing I want to point out on turnover is the new economies that are coming out are having people turn to freelancing for a very good reason. And that's because there's a lot of different positions that could be bringing tons of value to different businesses as internal positions. But those people are able to add value and create just as much money for themselves outside of your business. So they can work less, make the same money. They can work the same, make more money. So they've proven that they have a real value. And you know, small businesses benefit from freelancers all the time. We're able to get great talent that can help our business that we couldn't afford to hire full time. So there's pluses and there's minuses to this concept. Where I see this kind of, you know, focusing in on pet retail playing a part is maybe it's in a position of a service like grooming that you want to add, right? Whereas like a groomer, we're seeing it all the time. They can go out on their own and make just as much money doing half the work, or they can make more money doing the same amount of work. So how could you incentivize and create an environment to bring in a groomer, a service that could be hugely profitable and good for your business? I think it's by creating a you know, an offering that's, you know, good enough to keep them. So maybe this is a position where you look at profit sharing as an option. Maybe it's an opportunity where you recognize that you have to have employee benefits if you're going to bring on this person, because that's something that they can't get on their own. Maybe it's offering health insurance, or, you know, even access to health insurance. You know, I think there's ways to create a place that they want to be so that they don't leave. But the groomers is the one that obviously jumped out at me as like, this is a position that immediately we might all recognize. Maybe just straight hourly pay it's not appropriate. And that might be why you know, it's really hard to hire right now, at least in where I'm at in Texas. I hear all the time people can't keep their groomers. So something to think about there. This was an idea that kind of came into my head and I wanted to share it. It's you know, if you have a business, who do you employ that's worth having as a partner? Yeah. Think about that for a second. I mean, everything that we're going through right now, the uncertainty, you know, maybe we've had to let people go, all sorts of different challenges that we're facing as a result of what's going on. Is there anyone that you would have wanted to have in your business through this whole thing? Is there anyone that you'd want to have in your business forever? And if you don't have those people, what are you doing wrong with hiring? Like, why don't you have those employees? Why aren't you hiring for those people that take ownership that you would want to have as a partner in your business? Just something to think about. You're in a bad spot, I think, if you don't have those type of employees. So now I'm going to get into something, and I want to kind of share a little story. And I used to work for a company that did profit sharing, and it was the best business, most fun job I ever had. The more money I made, the more money they made. They were happy. I was happy. There was really no cap or limit on it. I ended up becoming a partner in a different market of that same business and created it the same way. We did the exact same format because I loved it so much and it worked so well from what I saw. So, it was exciting to get to be a part of something like that. So I think we can overcomplicate these ideas. And I want to just share that, taking the time to understand ways to build increased compensation for your staff that also reflect the overall improvement of sales to your business, or it's a worthwhile time. It's a worthwhile thing to invest your time in exploring. So what does that look like? I don't know the situation for your business. If they increased your sales, your sales by $5,000, could you afford to give them a $500 bonus? Is it for every employee? I don't know. Is it for managers? I don't know. Is it for, there's no rules to this. It could be for supervisors. It could be for managers. It could be for all staff. Depending on how you can figure out how to track these things, the broader you can make this, as long as your overall sales are growing, why would you be upset if your staff was making more money? If they were taking more ownership and growing your business, would you be upset if you were making more money and they were making more money? I don't think so. And I think that corporations have shareholders and they pay out profits to shareholders. I think it's the way to think about it. Like, how can you make your employees or your staff or your key personnel, how can you make them shareholders in your business? Because at the end of the day, that's what's going to make them act like owners. They got to feel like an owner. They got to be treated like an owner. They got to make money. Money is what's going to incentivize people when they're working for you. So no surprises there. But I want to point out again, there's no rules. So maybe it's not offering real equity in your business. Maybe it's offering profit sharing. Maybe you only offer that to your staff that have been there for a certain amount of time. Maybe you only offer it to managers. But I think creating that pathway is important for your long-term strategy of retaining the best employees. I also think that there's opportunities outside of that. Maybe it's having managers buy in as equity partners. So, maybe you have one location, maybe you have two locations, maybe you have 5 locations and you're able to manage that and you're able to be in all of that business. But maybe now you want to open a 6th, 7th, 8th, 10th, whatever. Maybe you want to go into a new market and you realize that in order to do that, you're going to have to pull yourself away from your primary location. So how are you going to duplicate yourself? Maybe it's asking that manager that's been in your business that you love, that you couldn't imagine leaving, to buy in. Like, maybe it is that. Maybe it is saying, hey, I have an opportunity. I want you to buy in and be a partner with me. You've been with me the whole way. I don't want you to leave. Like, let's have you buy into a location. Maybe it's vesting them equity for, sweat equity. Maybe it's just giving them profit sharing and saying, listen, I got to go focus on this other business. I'm going to, I need this to keep growing. I'll give you profit sharing. Maybe it's figuring something out, but the reality is there's no rules. Okay. There are people that are doing different things that you can look to and you can talk to and see what they're doing, but there are no rules about how you go about this for your own business. But again, I want to focus in on that. Customer service is where our independent retailers and any local retailer can win over big box and over our online marketplace competitors. And that's what Rogue believes in. We believe in the service level that's provided by independent retailers being a huge value to the community, to the customer. And that's why we wanted our products and independent retailers, because we know that in the right hands, we get it to more dogs. And so we see the value in the service that you're providing your customers. That's why we wanted to be in that space. That's why we want independent local retail partners. So again, I think in the long run, if you stay true to the things that actually make you superior to the competition, I think that you can compete and I think you can win. And I think, having these other things that may help you, with services is great, but I think focusing on your staff and figuring out how to create an owner mentality is a more important effort to make. So I appreciate your time and let me know what you think. Leave some comments. Thanks a lot.